Welcome to the 2015-2016 Professional Education Program PrEP Q&A discussion. This is the same recording of the August 20th, 2015 noon presentation. My name is Mcqs and I'm a PrEP trainer at PrepFormula. In the past, I have been a marker with CPA Canada, and I've had a number of different marketing engagements all over, including York University and a number of big firms. The purpose of today's session is to discuss the Professional Education Program basics and answer any questions which you may have. PrepFormula provides a personalized and supplementary training program for students going through the Professional Education Program. PrepFormula is certified as a designated post-secondary educational institution by the Ministry of Employment and Social Development in Canada. The agenda for today. We're going to understand the basic requirements of technical review as part of the modules and the supplementary sources, strategy for MCQs, and the basics of case writing on the PEP module exams. You're also going to understand the role in the case, the quality, the idea behind quality, and you'll be exposed to the idea of indicators and requireds. You're also going to understand what to do in the result of an unsuccessful attempt at each stage, learn the basics of time management, understand the most important parts of a basic case, understand the basics of debriefing and what it means and how it will help you pass, understand the basics of using Excel for quantitative analysis, and let's just kind of start by looking at the Core 1 basics. The Core 1, for those of you that are not familiar with the process, is the first major exam as part of PEP. You don't have to take it first, but I choose to talk about it first myself. So in terms of the format of the exam, format is primarily objective format questions. An example of what an objective format question is, it could be a multiple choice question or a short answer. There will be approximately 55 to 70 multiple choice questions on the exam, together with a 1 hour, 60-minute case. It is possible to have two shorter cases that are 30 minutes in length, but during the last couple of attempts of this particular exam, it's been a 1 hour case. What you should know is that this is a 3-hour exam. So time management is key. You won't ever be communicated to, say, move on from the objective format questions and start the case format and start the actual case writing. It's your responsibility to take control and to make sure that you are not going overtime. Predominantly, this topic tests financial reporting, which generally means accounting, which you should already be quite familiar with at this stage. In addition, the content coverage also includes audit and assurance, finance, and taxation. Core 2 is quite similar to this exam. However, the content is quite different. We're now talking approximately, again, 55 to 70 multiple choice questions, and there will be another 1 hour case. There has just been a recent update to Core 2. This exam will now be 4 hours in length. The content covered specifically will be focusing on management accounting primarily, and there's now been a change to the finance competency that finance will be increasing in value. In addition, this exam will test you on strategy and governance and financial reporting. What I really want to emphasize here is both as part of the objective format questions and the case that you'll be writing, you can be tested on any of the following topics. So anything is technically fair game for both the objective format questions and the case writing portion. Under the assurance elective, however, and the reason why I actually picked assurance for this presentation, I actually picked assurance and taxation, we anticipate that a large number of candidates going through the process will be picking assurance and taxation as part of their electives because they want to go through the public accounting route. We think that this is a good idea not to close any doors for yourself. On the assurance elective exam, you'll be faced with approximately up to 25% of objective format questions, but only questions within the assurance elective context. So although the insurance elective might test you on other areas, the other areas will be primarily tested through the case format. Within the assurance context, you'll get two 60-minute cases that you'll have to complete in a time frame. And like I said, as part of this exam, you will be required to actually discuss things within other competency areas as well, primarily from Core 1 or Core 2. Now, nothing really changes for the taxation elective in terms of structure. The only thing that does change will be the content coverage. So there will be a stronger focus on taxation, but again, for the case writing portion, you could supplement that, and they could technically test you on any topic from Core 1 and Core 2. Now, let me talk about the basic requirements of case writing and multiple choice. The module exams will test both objective format questions and MCQs, and this is the whole concept behind multiple choice questions is your technical knowledge will be tested. That's the primary focus of multiple choice questions, to determine whether you understand the basics of each standard. In addition, it's also going to explain and test case writing. So case writing is primarily tested through 3 different areas. Technical writing, so do you understand the material? Writing skills, aka the enabling competencies. So this is something like communication. Are you able to spell well? Are you deriving a useful report? And writing strategy. Due to the fact that there is a significant time pressure on these exams, are you picking the right issues? Are you talking about the big picture items? Are you talking about the most important things that you should be talking about? Items that are not tested: provincial tax laws, just to make it fair, because this is a process that's meant to be tested across Canada and the Caribbean and Bermuda. There will be no provincial tax laws. Also, if you are keen on introducing industry-specific knowledge, it won't be required. Everything as part of the case and exam structure will be provided to you right in the case. Let me explain what a competency area is. Let me explain what a competency map is and what multi-competencies stand for. Competency areas are 6 different subjects, which are financial accounting, management accounting, assurance, finance, governance, and tax. Those are the 6 topics that will be tested on these exams. The competency map sets out within these topics what you're responsible for knowing, basically. Multi-competencies imply that, unlike a university level examination, you are now required to tie in multi-competencies together. So in other words, the cases will test your integration skills between, say, financial accounting and tax or audit. So different competencies all pooled in one. You write these exams on a laptop with Secure Exam, and you are provided with a handbook and the Income Tax Act through a program called Folio Views. How to do well on multiple choice questions. So here are the key basic principles behind scoring well on PEP MCQs. Number 1, assess the competency area at hand and understand the topic carefully. Number 2, read the question carefully and immediately understand what options are available to you. Don't try to skip ahead. Don't try to predict the questions. Just read it all in one. You only have 2.4 minutes on average per question. Therefore, you should be really being pretty careful with the amount of guesswork that you're doing. Just try to read everything all at once. And then number 3, you'll be immediately able to rule out a number of different answers, right? So then you'll end up with 2 or 3 answers from which it becomes an easier decision, and your odds are actually better. Now, questions will be at varying difficulty levels, but we don't actually recommend for you to skip questions. Instead, guess. You don't have time to actually go back to a question. Most candidates that we've spoken with actually end up running out of time, and then they end up guessing. If you are running out of time, number 5, towards the end, try to jump right to the end and then go back to front. This is just a tip that I've been giving a number of candidates, and I think it's working pretty well. And when all else fails, make sure you put C or B or whatever, at least guess for the questions. Do not leave anything blank. How do you score well on case writing? First and foremost, you need to understand your role. You have to read carefully. You have to understand what's being asked of you. What issues are the most important? And the skills required for this would be technical, reading, writing, time management, quantitative skills, and decision making. The reason why the role is so important, a number of years ago, there was a legacy CA case that tested your role as a CRA auditor. working for Canada Revenue Agency auditing a particular unfortunate individual. What happened was a lot of candidates misunderstood the role and started giving advice to the person that they were auditing, which was completely out of context. So if you consider the role of a CRA auditor, which is required to follow the rules and perhaps seek out individuals that are either creating errors on their financial statements or fraud, providing tax advice is definitely not something that they should be doing. Therefore, this is just something that I really want to remind you that the entire report must be within the context of what you talk about. And you should also learn the rules of the game. There are 4 different types of things that I want you to watch out for. Each case will have a number of different indicators, and by indicators I really mean required. So these are things that you have to do. Something major would be a primary indicator, so that's something like, say, each case might have 3 different topic areas. So these are things that you have to talk about. Although the information in the case is scrambled, you have to assemble it back into pieces and then divide it into little buckets and then speak about them. Then what you'll notice is there may be things that you think you want to talk about, but there's no explicit required for you to do so. This is just my way of cautioning. Try not to interpret things too much. Try to just answer what's being asked of you. Do not invent anything. And the next thing is other indicators. Look for things that have a significant influence on all competency areas. Look for an overall discussion. So things like ethics or fraud or general communication. So these are the enabling competencies. These are kind of the big picture items, the impact on your users. Always watch out for things like that. And last but not least, on these exams, you are now being tested on the effectiveness of the report, aka the spelling, the grammar, the sentence structure, and how easy is your report to interpret by the user. You need to hit 3 points in order to actually pass: sufficiency, depth, and breadth. Sufficiency means a number of indicators. Okay, so basically an X number of successful points. Depth is appropriate discussion within each context and within each competency area. So that must mean including an impact, right? So you need to provide a meaningful discussion that adds value. And then breadth, a sufficient number of topics overall across all types of competency areas. So this is really something that would be required. Time management. Look, you've got 60 minutes for a Core 1 case. You've got 60 to 90 minutes for an elective case. You don't have enough time to really say everything you want to say. So it's really important to keep track of your time. Do not go past the allotted time. That takes time away from other questions. Always start with the biggest issues. Start with the most important issue and then move on to the second most important. And then allocate your time efficiently. Read and plan questions. Don't rush. Start with the most important issue and do the least important issues last. Here are a couple of case writing tips. Core and elective cases are designed so you don't have enough time, like I mentioned. Save 2 to 5 minutes at the end of the case for a conclusion, and omit things that are not really relevant. It's rare to have time to use handbook references and to access the handbook, so my suggestion is to actually memorize the most important standards, say the most commonly tested areas, and regularly look at your watch to determine how best to spend your time. Prep formula outlining strategy. I want to make this as clear as possible. Please have a way to organize your answer. At PrepFormula, we suggest the R1a method. R stands for requireds, 1 stands for a sub of required, and then A stands for a random piece of information. We suggest a computer-based outline, and how this works would be our required is a specific competency area. 1, for example, would be 1, 2, 3. It would be the various topics within the competency areas, and then A would be the random pieces of information, the case facts that would help you prove or disprove specific criteria within the topics. So hence, that's the way that I would kind of structure the exam. It should be just 1 page, and it should include a timeline. So timelines are extremely important. Consider drawing out a timeline and a quick org chart to figure out the most important key players and who's doing what and how people are connected. These are pretty difficult exams, and there's a lot of information, so it's hard to really achieve depth. But what does depth even mean here? Writing in depth. Writing in depth means discussing the most important issues. Try to use the case facts, technical knowledge, judgment, discuss options, and provide conclusions or recommendations wherever possible. Use case facts to help determine appropriate outcome and effects. When you have options, you should choose based on what is best for your client or employer, not what's easiest for you. You may only have a few minutes for less important issues, so try to use case facts with as much depth as possible. And writing in depth means explaining every choice and the impact on financial statements. If there is a choice, you have to conclude and say why you picked it. Add depth by continuously asking yourself, so what? Why is this important? What else should I be talking about? Continuously try to add value. Let's talk about quantitative basics. Quants are things that are done in Excel. Always try to move your quants into the Excel. They should be written on the spreadsheet and labeled. Labeling is key. It provides a marker with a quick run through your entire discussion. You also want to have a purpose. And what I do want to say is these are not required by all questions. Don't force it into a question. And really the idea is not about perfection. You want to add a correct conclusion. You want to add value to your client or boss. So have enough evidence to come to a supported and correct conclusion, but don't go overboard. I don't need every single possible adjustment. It's all about adding value. And not all quant adjustments are required, okay? So when in doubt, if you have a choice, kind of like on the screen right now, simple quant or complex quant, always go the simple route. It should be understandable to a reader, and you have to show your calculations. If a quant adds value, do it. If not, don't bother. And you always want to ask yourself, what is the simplest possible quant that I could do to get to my correct conclusion? This is not a time to impress your client. This is a time to produce a quant as fast as possible and get the answer that you need. And really, how many items do you need? It depends. I would go after the biggest dollar amounts first, and then at some point move on to the conclusion. How can PrepFormula help you pass? So how can we help you pass PEP? PrepFormula is a professional education program prep service. We're totally supplementary, and we connect CPA candidates with professional markers. So this is someone who is a practicing chartered professional accountant, typically legacy CAs, and a number of CGAs as well. And this becomes your mentor, your tutor throughout the entire process. We also provide you with excellent study materials. 89% of students who used our prep services in 2014 passed on the first try. 95% of Core 1 and Core 2 students who wrote both in March and July also passed on the first try. We try to connect each student in our program, like I said, with a mentor, with someone who you could call or email or text at any point in time. So this is someone who you could direct all your questions to. If you have any questions, if you want to know how to improve your writing, if you want real answers, if you want real help, if you need to understand why you're failing, why you're not getting the answers, sign up with us so we can pair you with someone with experience that can actually guide you on a one-to-one basis. So your tutor and mentor, which is the same person, will professionally mark all of our mock exams for you and debrief them one-to-one by phone or Skype. Now, this is a sample of a mock MCQ. If you want to go through it, pause the screen right now, read it, let me know what you think. I'm just going to jump through and show you that our mock MCQs immediately show not only the correct solution, but also show why the other answers are wrong. Now, let me also give you a quick walkthrough through the PrepFormula system to show you exactly what you'll get as part of our program. So when you first log in, what you'll notice is this is going to be the login screen as soon as you put in your password. What you notice is, here's my mentor. So this is your teacher that you'll be working with, Greg Brown. These are the different topics that you're responsible for knowing. Financial reporting, taxation, assurance, finance, etc. Okay, and there's a couple of interesting things here. The case marking and mock exams are here. One-to-one sessions are here. Okay, let me just show you all of the various parts now. I'm going to start by showing you these. This is just a rough breakdown of all technical content. I pulled up a random technical slide. This is an example of one of our videos. So this is a video describing all the possible technical. It's available to you all the way up until, if you purchase the full program, up until you become a CPA. Access is continuous until you actually pass. And we also provide notes. So you can download a copy or print to a PDF, and you can actually take notes about every single subject. Each section will also have a quiz to determine whether you're able to actually score appropriately or not. And then you can submit the quiz and immediately get marked, and you'll understand exactly how to arrive back. Now, let's say that you want to actually download one of the cases. You'll jump immediately right into the marking tab in here. This is going to open up this page with multiple cases. You'll click on a case. You can download it. You can save it. These are cases that PrepFormula developed and detailed debriefing guides. Okay, at that point, I think you want to submit your request. What you'll be able to do is submit the cases for marking to your mentor. So right away, you'll be able to submit them as soon as you're done. And then later on, what we're doing now is we're offering a new service. So not only are we now offering a phone or Skype support, we now offer the ability to actually have a one-to-one session through a meeting channel. So by clicking here, this is actually going to take you to a meeting software developed by PrepFormula, where you'll be able to communicate directly with your mentor going forward. So now you've seen a quick walkthrough of our program. Let me just show you our course curriculum and features as well. Students have the option to work with a qualified and currently practicing CPA with professional marking experience on a one-to-one basis from now all the way up until the CFE. We provide full summarized notes, video lectures, and a personalized schedule for each exam provided. We also provide a full supplementary case database and Mcqs for every exam that you write. If you purchase our program for 4 modules, so not only just Core 1 or Core 2, you will save 40% compared to the standalone value. This is something we call the 4 modules package, or our best value includes 4 modules plus CFE prep. And at that point, that becomes a 55% discount compared to our standalone value. We call this our full program. That comes with every resource that we can offer at a 55% discount, and access is continuous until you pass all the exams and become a CPA. The Government of Canada in 2013 recognized our educational status, and now we are really proud to offer a T2202A for all course fees paid. So you will receive an educational tax credit for the program costs, which you should receive a refund on your taxes for. And really what I want to mention is our program is almost sold out for 2015. We have an extremely limited number of spaces available for 2015, given the fact that we only accept 250 students per cohort, and we're actually quite full. If you do have any questions whatsoever about anything that I have just mentioned, or if you do require any assistance or would like to register, please click Get Started on any of the pages on our website. Feel free to navigate to PrepFormula.com. So this is actually the end of the webinar. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to email us. Thank you very much for watching this, and I hope you have a great day.